Hey guys, Ambo here. Today we're going to be going over how I build all of my drum tracks from start to finish on the Novation circuit tracks. Today I'll be using Keys, a sound pack for the circuit tracks made by Tektronix. This sound pack is available at isotonicstudios.com if you guys like the sounds on it. Super awesome. But anyways, let's just go ahead and hop on right into it. Alright, so we're going to start with a blank project here. I just laid down some kick drums as a metronome. We'll kind of come back and clean that up later. Just always personally like to start with a bit of a melodic idea just so I know where I'm going with the drums. So we'll just kind of have that running, and let's extend the phrase length here. Just add some snare. Just do one offset for a little flavor. And now we can go back and clean up these kicks. I think what we'll do is just live record those in as well. So we got a basic template down, and now with the hi-hats, we'll go ahead and do the same kind of deal. Recording will usually help. Alright, so we have a basic framework from which to work. So that's kind of usually how I start in terms of just inputting sounds. And then we can go in and clean it up. So first off, what I like to do is just go through and do a little EQ. A lot of high pass on the hi-hats, just a little bit on the snare, and then on the kick we're going to go low. Separates everything out a little bit. So, usually where I like to get a little bit more intricate and have some fun is with the hi-hats. So what we're going to do is start inputting some things manually here, just to give it a little bit of flavor. So what I'm going to do is just put a couple notes in here. I'm honestly just kind of going random here. That's kind of all right. And then what we'll do is go into the micro steps right here. And what that allows you to do is get 6 notes in between each note, which is pretty nice. So if you're looking to do some like hi-hat rolls or anything like that, just like that. Maybe you think that's a little overbearing. You kind of want to have that not play every single time. Easy way to go about that is just going into your probability and then going ahead and reducing the probability. If you want it to play more often than not, I would recommend going like the 60% or above. I tend to find whenever I go in this direction, it's definitely less often than not. I mean, that makes sense, but less often than you might like. There's a few ways you can make this just a little bit more spicy. The one easy way would be to go in and do randomize. That's whenever you go into your pattern settings and you go on this bottom right button right over here. want a more permanent but destructive version of that, you can go ahead and hit Shift and duplicate, and that'll be the mutate button, and that'll just rephrase everything. All the notes will have the same number of notes, but have them spread out in the pattern. Actually sounds pretty nice. But that's an easy way if you want to just write kind of one hi-hat pattern or any kind of pattern and then spread it across multiple scenes, then that's an easy way to get variation quick. Another way I like to get some variation in the hi-hats is we're going to open up a blank pattern here and kind of go in for a polymeter kind of thing here. So what we're going to do is go into our pattern settings, and this is going to allow us to adjust the pattern length. So what I'm going to do here is do kind of a 3 against 4 situation. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So that's why I'm ending the pattern right here. And then if we go in here and input some notes, and what I'm doing is just making sure that as I'm going through this, I'm kind of emphasizing that 3 beat in here. Otherwise, this will just kind of sound like more of a 4/4 against 4, but with slight variation. So it's a little bit more interesting sometimes to go ahead and put in and emphasize that 3/4 pattern or whatever the odd time is. And we'll just end the phrase with something like that, just so that we have a clear distinction of where that 3/4 is ending. Don't forget you can alter the length just to make that ride cymbal not so overbearing. Give it a little bit of reverb. There we go. Awesome, and then whenever you go and randomize that, you can get even a little bit more wacky. Maybe add in some of those rolls. So you can see we got pretty interesting kind of rhythmic pattern happening here with a really basic kick snare beat and honestly a pretty basic hi-hat rhythm as well. Just kind of using that 3 against 4 as well as randomizing that pattern. And then another fun thing you can do with that is if we go in and let's put in some melodic lines on the synths here real quick. Let's find a good one. I like that one. Go ahead and find the actual key here. And I guess just as a caveat, easy way to find the key if you have a good ear is to just go and change your scale to chromatic down here. If you're using samples and you're trying to figure out where you're at, then go down to chromatic. That's going to give you all the notes, and then it just makes it much easier to go ahead and find where your root note is. So we're in E here. So then, honestly, we can go in just to make life a little bit easier, and we're going to go and change that to E. I believe that was an E minor. Getting carried away there. So let's go ahead and lay down some notes here. That'll be fine, doesn't really matter what it is. And just go and turn up the release. And the whole point of this exercise exercise is to show how sometimes side chaining to this randomized off meter hi-hat can give you some interesting patterns on your synths. So let's go ahead and into our side chain. We were in synth 2 for that, so let's turn that up a little bit and tie that to the hi-hats, which are on drum track 3. Maybe a little much. Let's turn it down just a scotch. Awesome. So you see here how that can give your synths just a little bit more variation. And then just since we're here, let's go ahead and add some bass on there. And extend the track a little bit here. Feel like that kick drum is getting a little lost in there, you can always go and side chain the bass as well. And then one last thing, let's talk about the just automation. I feel like that's something that can get forgotten sometimes. So one thing I like to do with the automation is either adjust the length or adjust the pitch. So we'll give this a little go here. And so it just gives it a little bit more ear candy, you know? Awesome, and I think that's just about how I start all my drum tracks, and then you can just kind of expand on from there, start creating more patterns and chaining them together in different ways. Yeah, thank you very much.